It was just another late night at the city's busiest diner, where the clatter of dishes and murmurs of tired customers filled the air. Among the noise, a young waitress with weary eyes and a polite smile moved quickly between tables, working her second shift without a break. Her name was Emma. Most people didn't notice her, just another face behind the counter, but one man did. Sitting quietly in the corner booth was a billionaire CEO, dressed down in jeans and a hoodie, trying to escape the spotlight for a night. He had come in for a quick bite, but what he saw stayed with him longer than any meal. As the diner emptied out, he overheard Emma politely ask the kitchen staff if she could take home any leftover food. She didn't ask out of greed. Her voice was soft, almost embarrassed. That moment struck something deep in him. A woman working 2 jobs, still going home hungry? He couldn't stop thinking about it. The next day he returned, but not to eat. He followed her discreetly after her shift, wanting to understand more. Who was she really? What was her story? What he discovered next wasn't what he expected. It wasn't just about poverty or long hours. It was something that made him question everything: his success, his choices, and even what truly mattered in life. But what did he see that left him so shaken? Stay with us, because what happens next will leave you speechless. The man's name was Daniel Grant, the kind of CEO you see on magazine covers: wealthy, powerful, always in control. But something about that night stayed with him. Maybe it was the way Emma tried to smile even when she was clearly exhausted. Maybe it was how she thanked the cook for a small box of leftover pasta like it was a gourmet meal. Whatever it was, it pulled him in. He had people run multi-million-dollar companies for him, yet here he was, driving behind a waitress down quiet city streets, unnoticed. He kept his distance, careful not to be seen. Emma didn't go far. She hopped off the bus after a few stops and walked through a neighborhood that had seen better days. Broken streetlights, boarded-up windows, silence. Not the kind of place you'd expect someone with her spirit to call home. She'd finally stopped at a run-down apartment building, climbed the steps, and disappeared behind a rusted door. But what Daniel saw through the dim light of the hallway windows made him pause. There were drawings taped to the wall, colorful, childlike, with words like, "I love you, Mommy." Emma wasn't just a waitress working double shifts. She was a mother trying to make ends meet. Daniel sat in his car, stunned. Why hadn't she asked for help? Why was she doing this all alone? But he wasn't ready for what he'd find the next morning when he came back, something that would change everything. The next morning, Daniel parked across the street from the building, coffee in hand, unsure of what he was even doing. A man like him didn't wait around for answers. He usually paid someone to find them. But something told him this needed to be personal. Around 7, the front door creaked open. Emma stepped out, hair tied back, same worn-out shoes, holding the hand of a little boy no older than 6. The way she leaned down to fix his jacket, whispering something that made him smile, it hit Daniel harder than he expected. He followed from a distance as she walked him to a small community school 2 blocks away, gave him a tight hug, and hurried off to catch the bus. She wasn't just working hard, she was carrying everything alone. But why? Where was the boy's father? Why was there no one else? Back at his office, Daniel couldn't focus. He had meetings, deals, deadlines, but his mind kept drifting back to that smile, those drawings on the hallway wall. He asked his assistant to pull some quiet background on Emma, nothing invasive, just enough to understand her situation. What came back surprised him. No criminal record, no debt, just a history of moving jobs, switching apartments. She was clearly running from something or someone. Later that night, he returned to the diner, hoping to speak to her, maybe offer help in a subtle way. But she wasn't there. The manager said she had called out, first time in months. Something wasn't right. Days passed, and Daniel's curiosity turned into concern. Emma's sudden absence at the diner wasn't like her. He found himself watching the neighborhood more closely, noticing small details he'd missed before, the way neighbors whispered behind closed doors, the quick glances when Emma's name came up. He started asking around discreetly, But the harder he looked, the more tangled the story became. One evening, as he waited near the school, Daniel saw Emma rush out, clutching her son's hand tightly. Her eyes darted nervously as if she expected someone to appear at any moment. A black car slowed down nearby, and a man stepped out, his expression sharp and cold. Daniel froze, heart pounding. Emma pulled her son behind a corner, trying to avoid the man, but it was clear she couldn't run forever. That night, Daniel sat alone in his high-rise office, the city lights flickering below him. His world of boardrooms and business plans felt distant compared to the fight Emma was living every day. She was battling far more than exhaustion or money problems. There was a shadow following her, something dangerous and real. Daniel knew he had to act, but how? Could a billionaire CEO really step into a world so different from his own without breaking everything he had built? The question hung heavy in the air as he prepared for a decision that could change both their lives forever. But what would happen if he was too late? Just as Daniel was about to make his move, an unexpected call changed everything. The voice on the other end was low and urgent, warning him to back off. "You don't know what you're getting into," the caller said before hanging up. Daniel's heart raced. Suddenly, this wasn't just about a struggling single mother or a mysterious man in a black car. It was something far bigger, more dangerous. Determined to protect Emma, Daniel decided to dig deeper into her past. What he uncovered shocked him. Emma wasn't just running from a difficult life. She was hiding from someone powerful with ties to his own business world. The man following her wasn't just some random threat. He was connected to a rival company trying to use her to get to Daniel. Somehow, Emma had stumbled into a hidden game of power and control that stretched far beyond the diner and her double shifts. As Daniel connected the dots, he realized the stakes were higher than he thought. Emma's safety wasn't just about protecting a hardworking waitress anymore. It was about exposing a dangerous secret that could shake his empire. But getting involved meant risking everything he'd built and putting Emma and her son in even greater danger. With time running out and enemies closing in, Daniel had to choose: stay in his comfortable world or step into the unknown to save a woman he barely knew but couldn't stop thinking about. The city held its breath, and so did he. What happened next would change everything. Daniel knew he couldn't wait any longer. Late one night, he found Emma sitting alone on a park bench, the city lights casting long shadows around her. He approached quietly, offering her a hand and a promise. He would help her face whatever was chasing her. At first, Emma was hesitant. Trust didn't come easy after years of running, but Daniel's sincerity broke through. Together, they confronted the man from the black car, who turned out to be an enforcer hired by a ruthless rival trying to sabotage Daniel's company by targeting Emma. The rival had uncovered Emma's past connection to a whistleblower who had once worked for Daniel's firm and was now using her to get to Daniel indirectly. But Emma had no idea she was caught in such a dangerous web. With Daniel's resources and Emma's courage, they exposed the rival's plan to the authorities, bringing down the threat that had loomed over them. Just when it seemed like the storm had passed, Daniel received an anonymous envelope containing photos: Emma's son with another man, smiling like family. Confused, Daniel confronted Emma, who revealed a secret she'd kept even from herself. The boy's father was alive, living quietly nearby, but had chosen to stay away to protect them both from a hidden past. The story ended with Daniel realizing that some battles were just beginning. Emma's strength had saved them both, but their journey was far from over. And in that moment, Daniel understood what true power really meant. More than money or influence, it was about standing beside those who needed it most. In the weeks that followed, Daniel and Emma worked together to rebuild not just their lives, but a new kind of trust. The rival company's threats were behind them, and the authorities were handling the rest. Emma reconnected cautiously with the boy's father, who wanted to be part of their lives in a safe and honest way. It wasn't easy. There were wounds to heal and boundaries to set, but Emma finally felt a sense of hope she hadn't known in years. Daniel, on the other hand, found himself changed. The world of boardrooms and billion-dollar deals suddenly felt smaller compared to the real-life struggles he'd witnessed. He started using his resources differently, investing in programs to help people like Emma, those working hard but falling through the cracks. What began as a simple act of kindness turned into a mission, one that gave his success new meaning. Emma went back to work, but with less fear and more strength. She wasn't just a waitress anymore, she was a symbol of resilience, showing how courage can rise from the toughest places. Daniel and Emma's lives had collided in the most unexpected way, proving that sometimes the most powerful stories are those about human connection and standing up for what matters. As the city buzzed around them, one thing was clear. Success isn't just about wealth or titles, it's about the people you lift up along the way. And for Daniel and Emma, that was the real victory.